Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Be relentless, sister. A little out of breath, just coming from training with my fucking incredible boxing coach, Rob, at Victoria Martial Arts. Very grateful for him and my training and my love of boxing. But the purpose of today's podcast is not to go off on that. I talk about boxing a lot, but is to simply have this conversation of being relentless. And what does that mean? I did a Facebook Live this morning on my personal page, so maybe we'll link up that Facebook Live into the show notes if you would like to watch that. But let's have this conversation. Let's talk about being relentless. Being relentless. Which, by the way, you are going to have already seen the launch that came up for Women Wanting More apparel. Women Wanting More apparel. Woo, woo. Launched Monday, March 19th. That is the culture of Women Wanting More. You know, I realized it's like I wear so many like shirts that have sayings on them and like beanies and tank tops and like hoodies. It's like, you know what? I really want to create this. And I know that this will help to bring the message bigger, that you can really connect yourself with as a woman who wants more. And you, what I'm talking about with Women Wanting More apparel and the Women Wanting More store is to wear who you are. That the outside of you, the messages that you give off, not just on how you speak, how you talk, but even the clothes that you wear and what they say on them reflects who you are on the inside, your beliefs, your thoughts, the way you live life. So wear who you are. So you're going to see one of them. You can actually get on a beanie that says Relentless. It's my favorite one. Relentless. So what does that mean? Well, let's first talk about doing things. You know, a lot of people will talk about doing things. Talk. I want to, someday I. And then there's another percentage of the population, way fucking lower, who actually do the things that they talk about doing. Their words line up with their actions. Their mouth lines up with the movement that their body is making, either intellectually moving, physically moving, you know, emotionally moving. Like there's alignment there, right? There's alignment. So when you are relentless, what that means is you're willing to do whatever it takes. Think of relentless as another way of saying committed, except committed with a whole bunch of fucking badassery, like pit dog committed. Do you know what I mean? Like a dog that you see that like grabs onto a fucking bone and does not let go. Some of those breeds of dogs, like pit bulls, like bulldogs, like even my dog Karma, who's a Chesapeake, she's a fucking crazy ass dog. I swear there's some bulldog in her that are just like stubborn, like they're not letting go. You could grab onto bone or chewy toy and pick them up with the fucking bone, right? Like that jaw is so strong and so committed, relentless, that they are not going to let go. They're not giving up. They're not giving up. And I think what happens for so much of us is we come up along a roadblock and we're blindsided, right? We have resistance and we're like, what? But I thought this person would be happy for me doing this thing. Like, what the hell, right? Remember the first indication, the first lesson, the first experience I had with doing something bigger that I felt called to do, which at the time was blogging. And so this would have been, let me see, the first time I started to really like figure out what is this message I have inside of me was about 6 years ago. So 2013. So my youngest would have been, or probably my oldest, he was my only at the time, was two and a half. He was born at the end of the year in November, so at 2010, so yeah, he was a little bit over 2. And I started writing a blog. And, you know, the things that I spoke about were, lo and behold, not at first, but got a little spicier each time. Maybe they kind of trigger people a little bit. Maybe it was so funny. I remember because the blog, I actually, like, it was on my chiropractic office website. So, like, Dr. Karen swearing, you know, not so much, right? And so I can remember the first time I put like the word fuck in, I was like, oh my God, I just really feel this word needs to be in this. Like, it just makes sense with what I'm writing about. And then I got a little spicier and I like put it in the first word or the first sentence or something like that. It's almost like I kept trying to push the envelope a little more. Now, I don't give a fuck about the fucks, I let the fucks fly. Like, it's good. It's a great word. I love the word. It's how I speak. It's who I am. There's no more censoring me. Although it was interesting, the last year in practice when I knew that I was going to be moving on, I allowed myself to fully come out. And it was interesting how much patients really actually dug that, because I was being me. Sidebar, be you, be you. So when I started then with this blogging, and I remember one that I was, a lot of it that I wrote about was motherhood. So the blog then became the podcast, which was called Mom at 41, because most of the blogs that I wrote about motherhood were the ones that got the most activity, like likes, shares, just women that knew me, patients in the office, people I went to the gym with. Moms would take me aside and go, "Man, the thing that you wrote about, like, I really, really resonate with it, really connected with me, and thank you." And so I was like, oh, okay, this is motherhood. I'm getting a lot of feedback that, motherhood is difficult, needs to be the conversation to have, that women are feeling starved to kind of feel connected to this and feel like they're all alone, and the ones that feel like they're fucking up their kids and they suck as a mom. But yet everyone's going like, "I'm great, I love my kids, everything's perfect," but really inside, like, they're down in a bottle of wine at night because they cannot keep up with the pressure that they feel from the outside, and quite honestly, they're putting on themselves from the inside. And so I started writing about motherhood, and we had someone at the time who was running our son's day home. And I remember and she's a mom herself, mom of 3, day home, like, loves children, loved our boy Tyson. And I remember it coming out and it kind of being like, just landed flat with her. I'm like, "Hey, I launched podcasts and stuff." It's like, "Oh, that's nice." And I remember a comment of like, "How's that little podcast or that little bloggy thing coming along?" And I was like, what the fuck? You're not supportive of me, right? Resistance. I could have at that time, and I felt that from a lot of people, like resistance. And the biggest piece of that too, people just didn't understand. Like, this was when did we start that? 2014. Yeah, 2014. I started the podcast. Yeah. And people were like, "Podcast?" I mean, you still people now 4 years later, they're like, "What's a podcast?" You're like, "Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Come on. It's 2018. Fucking catch up." But there was even less people listening to podcasts back then. So there was a piece of that. People were like, "Whoa, what's a podcast? What's a blog?" Sometimes too was like, "Oh my God, like, are we going there?" People just little technologically stunted still think they're living in 1993. And their Hotmail and AOL account. So, and right now you're going to be pissed if you have an AOL or Hotmail account, but that's okay. Something for you to see. Move the fuck forward. Gmail it. So resistance is going to be coming at you all the time. And you could take that, and when you're trying to do something, big thing, small thing, however you're going to classify that, you can come against the resistance and say, "See, I shouldn't be doing this thing," right? But if you know that you're being pulled, if you feel this calling inside of you, if you feel like there is a mission that you have, that the voice is screaming at you, you need to do this thing, then you have a choice to make, my sister. And the choice is to be half in, or the choice is to be all the way fucking. And if you're all the way fucking, you will be relentless. That means you do whatever the fuck it takes. That means I don't care how many people come at me. That means that I don't care how many times that people have said they've been offended by my words. It's okay, because I'm relentless. You can try to knock me down, but you know what? I fucking get back up. You're messing with the wrong bitch, because this one's a fighter. If I get knocked down, right back up again. Knocked down, right back up again. One of the reasons I gravitate so much back to boxing is because I am a fighter. It is who I am. I was saying to my coach Rob today, I'm like, what's really interesting to me is that they're really, like, I cannot think of a time in a year and a half of training with Rob, actually a little bit over a year and a half, and I come to group classes right now as well too. Out of all the hours of training that I've put in to box, to learn how to box, to become better, to prepare for my first tournament, God help me, I will get in a tournament soon. Last one had an injury, before that, no opponent, we'll fucking make it happen. And that there is not a time I can remember that I go like, oh, I really don't want to go. Like, I can think of one time. It was the first time back when I had like a freak out session. If you go back to previous podcast episodes, can't remember what that one's called, but something about lessons by getting punched in the face, where I was sparring and I got fucking punched a couple times by this dude, and I lost it. Exploded on this guy. Not physically, but verbally, but like I just fucking, so now it was kind of like, it's like, oh God, like I felt embarrassed. I didn't regret. I'm like, well, there's something for me to see in the experiences. You know, the guy that I freaked out on, we had a conversation about it. Like, we're good. We're really good. Like, it was a good thing for me to experience. And if I didn't have that freak out, I wouldn't have seen what I need to see, right? So, can't wait for you to get to a point, sister, where you see these experiences, you don't beat yourself up and you go, man, but that led me to this thing, and this thing led me to that. And you just trust and surrender to this fucking insane journey that we live on called life. And relentless. So yeah, there's not a time that I've been in the gym that I'm like, oh, I don't want to go, except for the time or two, maybe 2 times that I went back to group classes after that happened, having to look these people in the face again, right? After Karen fucking lost her marbles. But outside of that, you know, I love it. I love everything about it. I can't wait to go every single time I train. It doesn't matter what's coming up. I know that there's something for me to see physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually from training. Way different than CrossFit. Nothing wrong with CrossFit. Nothing wrong with lifting. Love all that stuff too. All those things could bring that, and that brought me so much joy and so much strength and so much power. But fighting is a completely different realm that it is like part of who I am. It's part of my soul is to fight. Relentless. It's probably why that word just like it resonates and connects with me so much. It's like relentless, right? Are you willing to do whatever it takes to get shit done? Are you willing to do that? Are you going to be like most that go, oh, it's too hard. Oh, I'll do it one day. Oh, you know what? And here's the reason, you know, why I can speak so boldly and bluntly, and maybe at times then too, sister, where this kind of like triggers the fuck out of you, is because I've been all of those things. Now, I can't do this. I'm a mom of 2 kids. I don't have time to work out. I can't write these things. Who am I to do this? I should just fucking quit. Sister, there were so many times along this journey, 6 years ago, figuring out this message, all the things that I've done over this time, to up into and including when I launched this podcast in August of 2015, Women Wanting More, that there's been times where I'm just like, I'm gonna tap out. I'm fucking done. It is too difficult trying to reach these women. Tell me that you want change, but you're not showing me. That's fucking frustrating. I'm not interested in women following me and or paying me and not getting results. Now, I know that not everybody is going to do the work. Like, I accept that. It's hard, though, for me to see it. It's kind of like this. I give this analogy with my husband sometimes. We have discussions. I'm like, it's kind of like seeing someone bang their head over and over again against the wall and go, I don't know why my head hurts. And you're like, listen, so there's things, right? So we could put a helmet on so when you bang your head, it's, you know, you're not going to have that result. Let me teach you how to not bang your head against the wall. Maybe you're banging your head against the wall because you're just frustrated. So let me give you some other ways that you could release that frustration. Maybe there's something for you to see in your, like, you're given all these tools and opportunities and ways out of the result you don't want, which is my head hurts. And yet you keep banging your head against the wall, wondering why your fucking head hurts. That's what it feels like some days. And so there's certainly, been many times where I'm just like, fuck, I'm done, dude. But you know what? The thing is when I say I'm done, I know I'm not done. That's just the resistance speaking. That's just my frustration coming out. You know, when you say things that you don't really mean sometimes, you know, it's like that. Because I'll tell you what, I'm fucking relentless. And you can be too, sister. If you choose it, if you want it. Or you could keep fucking dropping the ball and see how that feels. I'll tell you, it feels pretty fucking powerful to be relentless, to be knocked down and just be like, fucking thank you, sir, may I have another. Get back up, spit out that fucking tooth and go, let's go. Relentless. So more tip for today is this, sister. Where do you need to be? And this is actually what I mentioned in the Facebook Live today. Where do you need to be more relentless in your life? Like what area of your life? With your kids? Maybe you're not really holding them accountable for things that you're asking them to do. I've been there before. You know how easy to just go like, just take the fucking iPad. Like, mommy's just tired. Can I have? Yes, you can have that 10th fucking cookie. Because, like, I just don't want to fucking have to deal with you right now, right? It's okay. We've all been there. There's no fucking judgment on this. But where do you want to start choosing to be more relentless? What area of your life is it in? Maybe it's with me when I was trying this message and part of my business and trying to get stuff out and just feeling like so frustrated with the whole situation. Maybe it's with that you're just like, I've been trying to, I'm doing stuff on Facebook and I'm setting up Facebook groups in a community and no one's doing stuff. And I go, really? Well, how long have you been doing this? A month? I'm like, what the fuck? You got to get your chops way fucking dirty than that, sister. Be prepared to fucking be relentless, because this shit is not easy. It takes a while to build a community and a culture and a movement. Like, fucking get ready for some hard-ass work. So what area of your life do you need to be more relentless? Maybe it's with your health. You're just dropping the ball and giving all sorts of excuses as to why that you can't do things and you can't get the body that you want. And you know deep down inside that is fucking bullshit. So where is that area? And here's the second piece of that. What is one action step you can take in the next 24 hours that'll move you from the place that you're in? Maybe it's apathy, overwhelm, frustration, pain, I don't know, whatever it is, indifference. And you actually create some action and momentum, movement that'll start to move you towards being relentless. Because, it can be a decision. It can just be like, all right, that's it. I'm all fucking in, right? But there has to be something that drives you behind that. Just saying I'm going to do it doesn't make you do it. What is your why? What is your why for the thing that you're wanting to do? Journal all this and see what insight comes up for you. So, sister, 3 things. Number 1, as we finish up this episode, I mentioned the Women Wanting More store. Women Wanting More apparel, which is t-shirts and beanies and hoodies, mugs, and what am I missing? T-shirts that are all of the things that we talk about in Women Wanting More, the culture, the movement. Be part of this, sister, of this bigger tribe of women who want more. So head over to shop.womenwantingmore.com. Link will be in the show notes. There will be some opening week specials, promotions, and you got to get in there. So I've been dropping pictures of things and stuff on IG, and like women are fucking freaking out. Like, when can I get it? When can I get it? So it launches on Monday, March the 12th. Go in there. Let's fucking break the store. I just want to see all of you flooding in this message, spreading across the fucking globe. I'm relentless, which is why even as I'm putting stuff together, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing this clothing thing for? This is crazy. Because you know why, sister? I'm fucking relentless. Because I saw that there was a space for me to create something, and I will do whatever it takes. This is the next step. So shop.womenwantingmore.com. Pick up all the fucking gear that you want. And I'll be dropping in some new designs along the way. I'm going to be getting feedback from you and see what you want and just other things that I'll be having in there as well too. Journals, all sorts of shit. So shop.womenwantingmore.com. Number 2, you need to get on the VIP list. Okay, to do that for the store and everything else Women Wanting More, head over to drkarenosborn.com/action guide. drkarenosborn.com/action guide. Because I'm going to give you 2 training videos on how to figure out who you are, remember who you are, drop your stories, create new ones. And I'm going to send you the More For Action Guide, which is how to start your day in power, a video training and a downloadable PDF. So that's over at drkarenosborn.com/action guide. And make sure to leave a review for this podcast. Let's spread this message, sister. I want your help. I need your help with this. Be part of this movement. Head over to iTunes. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star review and how this podcast has really affected your life so we can help more women around the world. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from me doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.